Connected, stay informed. 20 minutes of nonstop news continues on KOMO News 1000, FM 97.7.
Good morning. It's the KOMO Morning News. It's 8:02. We have smoky skies in downtown Seattle again. It's 71 degrees now. Craig Hirschholt has the day off. I'm Manda Factor. Here are the top stories from the KOMO 24/7 News Center. Face coverings have already been mandated in Snohomish County. Today, the mandate begins in Thurston County. KOMO's Brian Calvert reports in every other county, top health officials strongly urge you to wear a mask.
The statement signed by every county health officer in the state not only urges wearing a mask, it asks those not yet vaccinated to please do so. On the line, hospital capacity and health care in general.
Almost all the patients I treat with COVID say, can I get the vaccine? And by the time you're in the hospital and critically ill, no, it doesn't work like that.
Dr. Grant Niskins says colleagues are frustrated that people are waiting until they get COVID to consider getting the vaccine. And at this rate is warning that if you're not vaccinated, you're likely to get the Delta strain. Both Washington and Oregon once had a grip on the spread of the virus, but the easy-to-catch Delta mutation has definitely changed the game. It's so bad in Oregon, they actually set a record yesterday for the largest number of COVID cases in a single day, 2,387. Washington may not have set a record, but we're certainly in record territory with our number of 3,722 newly confirmed cases yesterday. Brian Calvert, KOMO News.
There is a new vaccine mandate in the state's largest school district.
The superintendent of Seattle Public Schools says all non-union staff must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by October 18th.
KOMO's Mary Naum reports Dr. Brent Jones told school employees the district will start bargaining with labor partners so its union workers can also be required to get the vaccine. This morning, state school superintendent Chris Rakedahl is expected to formally request that all K-12 public school employees be required to get vaccinated. Rakedahl will hold a news briefing to ask Governor Inslee to issue an executive order for education workers, similar to the one for state employees and healthcare professionals. Federal jobless benefits are about to run dry for some 200,000 unemployed people in Washington. KOMO's Corwin Hake reports this time the state is not stepping up to fill the gap.
These workers have been eligible for an extra $300 a week from the American Rescue Plan on top of state jobless benefits. Those federal benefits, though, expire September 4th.
We haven't lost sight of the reemployment work that we need to do.
Cami Feek is the state's new Employment Security Commissioner.
I'm committed to partnering with others in the workforce system on Washington's path to an equitable economic recovery.
That suggests the state is reshifting its focus to job placement rather than stepping in to cover the expiring federal benefits. Although a labor shortage plagues industries statewide, the Seattle Times reports many of those who received extra benefits worked in sectors including manufacturing still struggling to recover from the pandemic. Corwin Hake, KOMO News.
Coming up on the KOMO Morning News.
Even hotter today and concerns about worsening air quality from smoke. I'm Carlene Johnson.
First, we get back to Kiara Jordan in the Dubin Law Group Traffic Center.
Well, we've been working with this crash in Puyallup. It's at Meridian and 167, and this is why southbound 167 is looking so slow right now as you're pulling away from 512 into the area. Meanwhile, northbound 405 scattered slowing as you're traveling through the Renton area. Northbound I-5 with a lighter slowdown approaching the Tacoma Dome. Find a heavy drive on North 5 in Seattle between the West Seattle Bridge and the Convention Center. There is some scattered slowing on southbound I-5 as you're traveling out of the Shoreline area, and I am noticing an odd little slowdown that's starting to form on southbound 405 in Bellevue as you're approaching 520. Nothing showing up on my radar yet, but I'll keep my eye on that area for you. Our next KOMO traffic at 8:14.
Our traffic this time is sponsored by Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. Call Beacon today and save $50 on all heating and air conditioning. Just call 1-800-FREAKIN and stop freaking. Call Beacon. Here's the forecast from meteorologist Kristen Clark.
Already waking up to that orange hue of haze across western Washington. Indeed, the wildfire smoke continues to pool across the lowlands, seeping in through the Cascade Gaps, the valleys, and the Fraser Valley as well. So again, pockets of poor air quality will be seen across western Washington today. And we anticipate record heat in addition to that. High temperatures well into the 90s. We endure one more hot day tomorrow with hazy sky conditions before we finally get that flush rush of cool ocean air to move in by Sunday, cleaning our air and cooling things down to the 70s by Monday. In the KOMO Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kristen Clark.
We have hazy sunshine in Seattle right now. It's 70 degrees, and that wildfire smoke is blanketing the whole region. We get more from KOMO's Carlene Johnson.
Smoke from the fires in eastern Washington and British Columbia moved in Thursday, and it's likely to be even worse today. Bellingham broke a record on Thursday.
Bellingham hit the hottest temperature ever on record there today at 100. It was because of those gusty winds just howling through the Fraser. In the winter, it would have meant a big Arctic outbreak, but today it meant the heat and the smoke coming down from the fires in British Columbia.
Shannon O'Donnell with the KOMO forecast team. Tacoma and Tukwila this morning showing air quality that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. It is much worse in eastern Washington and south to Portland, where readings are hazardous. Now, with today expected to be near 100 degrees, cooling centers are open in many communities, and emergency crews are on standby to deal with more heat-related illness calls. Carlene Johnson, KOMO News.
Firefighters say they're dealing with their worst-case scenario as this heat wave continues. Heat combined with already dry conditions and a little bit of wind. KOMO's Steve McCarron reports the end of the fire season is still weeks away.
If the wall wasn't there, it would have spread. For sure.
This man has no doubt his home would have been a goner had it not been for the sound wall right along Interstate 5. It essentially created a barrier between fast-moving flames and the neighborhood on the other side.
There was a moment when I looked up and saw this tree entirely engulfed in flames.
He tells me flying embers burned portions of his yard near Northeast 130th as firefighters arrived to attack the flames from all sides. So far this year, more than 450,000 acres have burned statewide in roughly 1,600 fires. In 2018, the state saw more than 1,800 fires, with fewer acres burned over the course of the entire year. Steve McCarron, KOMO News.
If you need a place to keep your pet cool during the heat wave, there is a spot for them at Seattle Humane in Bellevue. It's being operated by the Washington State Animal Response Team. Gretchen McCallum with the organization says you can drop off your pets between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. today.
We have plenty of room for dogs, plenty of room for cats.
Pets that are not dogs or cats must be in their own enclosures, such as crates or aquariums. Pet owners are asked to call ahead before taking their pet to Seattle Humane. The service, though, is free. After months of complaints about a homeless encampment at Seattle's City Hall Park, change is finally happening, officially closing this morning. Here's KOMO's Jonathan Cho.
The outreach workers say they've placed 70 people into housing this week alone, and leaders with Just Care, the nonprofit coalition behind this effort, say they want to be very clear. What's happening is not a typical sweep where the homeless will be kicked out with a police presence. They say the campers have all agreed to leave the park on their own. Officials say workers started reaching out more than 6 weeks ago, building relationships and trust, gradually trying to convince campers to leave, but only if the supportive housing and services were available. And that's the key. This past week, all that investment finally paid off as workers placed dozens of people into various programs with up to 9 months of housing and support.
This is not a removal. This is not a sweep. This is a planned Just Care approach to bring people inside. Nothing is forced.
That's Just Care's Jesse Bennett. Several other nonprofits and church groups also helped in the effort to move the homeless out of there. The man accused of attacking a woman in a ladies' restroom at the King County Courthouse right next to that park has pleaded not guilty to a second-degree attempted rape charge. Police say 35-year-old Clint Jory snuck into the restroom and was hiding there when he attacked the woman July 29th. Police records show Jory had just been released from the Regional Justice Center in Kent a week before the attack after serving time for groping another woman 2 years ago. Casey McNerthney of the prosecutor's office says Jory is a registered level 1 sex offender, and his bail was set at $750,000. It's now 8:10, and that's time to get to the Beacon Plumbing Sports Desk with Tom Hutler.
Well, the Mariners, coming off their 3-1 win over Texas, will host the Toronto Blue Jays in the opener of a 3-game weekend series tonight. Seattle comes into today 4.5 games out of the second wild card spot in the American League, with 46 games remaining on the schedule. Brianna Stewart had 17 points, 15 of those during the first quarter. Jewel Lloyd added 16, Sue Bird with 10, the big three. Helped the Storm rout the Connecticut Sun last night in Phoenix 79-57 to capture the first ever Commissioner's Cup. The Storm built a league-leading 16-5 record before the month-long break for the Olympics, never trailed, and that game did not count in the WNBA standings. Now, they do be getting a lengthy road trip starting Sunday at Chicago. The Huskies work out today. not on Montlake, but at Memorial Stadium at Seattle Center in a practice that is open to fans. Coach Jimmy Lake talked about the reasoning for that.
I don't even know what the parking situation is like, but I hope it's good. I hope everybody comes down there and comes watch us play. It should be a fun atmosphere. It's going to be good for our team to be in a different environment.
That workout today, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Memorial Stadium. You can RSVP through the GoHuskies.com website. Sports at 10 and 40 past each hour. Tom Hutler, KOMO News.
KOMO News Time, 8:12. We'll get back to Kiera and check traffic and weather in just a couple of minutes. First, Britney Spears may be a big step closer to being free from her father. The update from ABC's Kaylee Hartung.
After 13 years, a stunning reversal. Jamie Spears agreeing to step down as conservator of her estate once conditions are met. A court filing from his attorney saying Mr. Spears intends to work with the court and his daughter's new attorney to prepare for an orderly transition to a new conservator. Britney finally getting what she's begged the court for after telling a judge she'd been traumatized and demoralized by the conservatorship and wants to sue her father for abuse. In the fallout of that bombshell testimony in late June, Jamie refusing to give up control. And even with this filing, his counsel writing, there are in fact no actual grounds for suspending or removing Mr. Spears as the conservator of the estate. And it is highly debatable whether a change in conservator at this time would be in Miss Spears' best interests. Matthew Rosengart, Spears' new lawyer, will work with Jamie Spears to solidify his replacement. Rosengart telling ABC News, it is vindication for Britney. Rosengart made it clear from day one on the job, his top priority was ousting Jamie from the director's chair of Britney's financial decisions.
Less than 2 weeks ago, we pledged that after 13 years of the status quo, my firm and I would move aggressively and expeditiously to file a petition to suspend and remove James P. Spears.
The former federal prosecutor also adding in a statement, we look forward to continuing our vigorous investigation into the conduct of Mr. Spears and others over the past 13 years, while he reaped millions of dollars from his daughter's estate. Britney's team has argued Jamie spent more than $500,000 of his daughter's money in the last year alone on his own PR efforts. Jamie has refuted all claims of any wrongdoing as his daughter's conservator.
Now, pushing Jamie Spears out is a step in this long process of Britney trying to regain control of her life, but it's not the end of her fight with her dad. She has said she wants to see him in jail. There is an ongoing investigation, and her attorney telling ABC News he looks forward to taking Jamie Spears' sworn deposition as soon as possible.
KOMO News Time, 8:14. Our KOMO traffic every 10 minutes on the 4s. From the Dubin Law Group Traffic Center, here's Kiera Jordan.
Well, looking at a new aid response as you're coming out of Shoreline, southbound I-5 near 145th, just south of that area, actually. It's mostly over on the shoulder, but it's partially blocking that right lane, which is sort of an on-ramp right there. So this is what's slowing you down from 175th. Northbound I-5, that's looking heavy in Seattle between the West Seattle Bridge and Seneca. And it looks like the Valley Freeway, that's starting to clear out really nicely, traveling in the northbound direction, but we've had an ongoing issue southbound 167 near Meridian, and so that's still causing some delay there. You can expect some light scattered slowing on northbound 405 through the Renton area, and also a light slowdown on southbound 405 as you're approaching 520. Our next KOMO traffic at 8:24.
Our report this time is sponsored by Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. Call Beacon today and save $50 on all drain cleaning and sewer repair. Just call 1-800-FREAKIN and stop freaking. Call Beacon. Another hot, hazy day. This is going to be the hottest day of our little mini heat wave. 97 in Seattle, possibly triple digits in the foothills and in southwestern Washington. Overnight low of 66. Sunshine tomorrow, again around 90. Partly sunny, 86 Sunday, and it's looking less and less likely that we'll see much rain on Monday. Still a chance in the forecast, but the updated forecast shows a very small chance. Cloudy on Monday and a high of 76. Right now in downtown Seattle, hazy sunshine and 70.
Stay connected. Stay informed. The Northwest's only 24-hour news station. KOMO News 1000, FM 97.7.
It's 8:16. It's the KOMO Morning News. It's Friday, the 13th. Greg Herschelt has the day off. I'm Amanda Factor. Frank Lindsay's at the editor's desk. It is now up to the CDC to decide whether to recommend COVID booster shots. Advisors are meeting today to talk about giving a third dose to those with weakened immune systems. The FDA gave its approval for that last night, but says others fully vaccinated don't yet need a booster. The Florida Hospital Association says COVID-19 admissions across the state have surged to a new high. Yesterday, more than 15,000 were reported. Dr. O'Neill Pike is the chief medical officer at Jackson North Medical Center.
The data is absolute. The folks who are actually vaccinated are being protected to the tune of 90+%.
Now, a new analysis shows higher vaccination rates in both Florida and Texas could have saved thousands of lives. ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky is on our KOMO Newsline. Tell us more, Aaron.
This is a study out of the Yale School of Public Health, Amanda, that found had Florida and Texas, two of the states with relatively low vaccination rates, under 60%, been a little bit better in their vaccination, maybe up where some of the New England states are, 74, 75%. That could have saved almost 5,000 lives and 70,000 hospitalizations. This is totally hypothetical. It's nothing certain, but it is based on real numbers. And I think that the broad message there, Amanda, is that vaccines save lives.
Did they do break down all states by vaccination, or just Florida and Texas for this study?
They singled out Florida and Texas as examples of states where the vaccination rate has really lagged and where there's an incredible caseload. And I think they're making a correlation there that if not enough people are vaccinated and the caseload increases, so do the hospitalizations and deaths. I mean, it's intuitive, I think, and it's probably what we know, but I think it reinforces with real-time numbers that the vaccines are responsible for fewer hospitalizations and fewer deaths, and that's exactly what they were tested against. And exactly what they were meant to do.
All right, Aaron, thanks for the information. ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky. New York City leaders say the Delta variant of coronavirus now accounts for 90% of all positive test results. Experts say the strain is more contagious and that the rate of spread has increased in the tri-state area. City leaders report the number of new cases per day is at a level not seen since late April. Also, the number of patients in the ICU has tripled since July, and a double-digit death toll has been reported for 5 straight days now. Also in New York, part of that state's eviction moratorium didn't pass muster with the nation's highest court. ABC's Daria Albinger explains.
The U.S. Supreme Court has blocked part of New York State's eviction moratorium, saying no man can be a judge in his own case. The order, which was not signed, applies to the portion which bars the eviction of tenants who file a form saying they've suffered economic setbacks as a result of the pandemic. The justices say the argument is counter to due process. The case, which was brought by several small landlords, is one of the first legal challenges to eviction moratoriums, including one recently imposed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
Come on, News Time 8:19. America is becoming more urban.
In the past decade, small towns and rural areas saw their average populations fall by about 0.5%. At the same time, says the Census Bureau's Mark Perry,
the 10 largest cities all grew this past decade, and 8 of the 10 grew at a faster rate this decade compared to the last.
What's more, the number of Americans who identify as multiracial stands at 33.8 million. That's a 276% increase since the last census in 2010. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The Taliban is now in control of Afghanistan's second largest city. A member of the Afghan parliament confirmed today that Kandahar has been seized by the militants. Last night, Afghanistan's third largest city, Herat, also fell to the Taliban. Come on, News Time, 8:20. Now it's time to get to our Propel Insurance Money Update. Starting Monday, people who want to go into bars, restaurants, gyms, music halls, or other indoor venues in New Orleans will have to show proof of vaccination against the coronavirus or a recent negative test. The latest move to combat a coronavirus surge there that's put major stress on Louisiana's hospitals. Gas prices are not moving, at least for the moment. Today's AAA survey shows the national average price for regular is unchanged at $3.18.6 a gallon. That's a bit lower than the national average ahead of last weekend. Prices are still going up in Mississippi and California, home to the least and most expensive gas in the country. Here in Seattle, according to GasBuddy.com, the average price of regular is now $4.02. IHOP will soon offer locations the option to add alcohol to the menu. It's one of several popular fast food and chain restaurants to mount a rebranding campaign.
Coming soon to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, a 3,000 square foot, 2-story Taco Bell with 4 drive-through lanes. 3 of them dedicated to pickup and mobile orders. And for fast food fans who don't even want to bother with the drive-through, Wendy's will bring its square patties to you. The chain opening 700 delivery-only kitchens over the next 4 years. Third-party services like DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats will deliver the food.
That's ABC's Will Gans. Checking Wall Street, the Dow is up just about 43 points right now at 35,543. S&P 500 up 3. The Nasdaq is down 3. We'll get back to Kiara and check traffic and weather next here on the KOMO Morning News. It's 8:21.
KOMO News Radio, winner of the coveted Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Newscast. Breaking news and hard news coverage. Stay connected, stay informed with the Northwest's best. KOMO News 1000, FM 97.7, and streaming on your smart speaker.